Spongebob here. Lately, I got an indie game from 2023 called Bomb Rush Cyberfunk, which is basically a clone of the Sega Dreamcast classic Jet Set Radio. I've honestly never played Jet Set Radio, but I'm familiar with it because of the Sonic and Sega crossover games. I know it's about a bunch of rebellious kids skating around, finding spots to mark graffiti while avoiding these over-the-top police officers. Bomb Rush Cyberfunk is basically more of the same, but tries being a bit edgier and darker, while still maintaining the goofy tone of Jet Set Radio. The game really does look like an upscale Dreamcast game with its low-poly models, vivid colors, and cel-shaded art style. It really makes the game a late 90s and early 2000s throwback. Despite all the near-perfect scores that this game received, I really don't think the game is that great. I mean, it's not bad, I just don't think it's that great. The characters and plot just don't interest me. I find the music very obnoxious, and that's a huge issue when the soundtrack is supposed to be the game's main appeal. I'm sorry, the music is just too modern and repetitive. I'm not a fan of DJ record-scratching music. There's too many unskippable cutscenes and repetitive missions of needing to skate through obstacles or compete in high-score combo competitions. Like, honestly, if I wanted to play Tony Hawk Pro Skater, I'd just play Tony Hawk Pro Skater, because honestly, I think that gameplay's better. But for a game that involves a lot of skating, rollerblading, and biking, the gameplay is just very slow and repetitive. It also has very lousy and weak combat. It kind of leaves me wishing it played more like Sunset Overdrive. That is such an underrated game with its excellent blend of skating, parkour, and weapon combat, along with an excellent sense of humor. Even the music in that game was more pleasant to listen to. So, I don't quite get why this game has so many near-perfect reviews. I mean, it's not a bad game, but it's just a near-exact clone of Jet Set Radio, just slightly edgier. So you're probably wondering, if I'm not so impressed with this game, then why am I making a whole video about it? Well, that's because of what drew me into this game in the first place, the mods. This game has a strong modding community between the website Game Banana and the mod manager R2 Modman. R2 Modman has many tweak mods that spice up the gameplay, like skipping cutscenes, quick warping the character select stations, infinite speed boosters, being able to swap between the skateboard, rollerblades, or bike at the push of a button, and swapping between character skins without having to rush over to this outhouse every time. There's even a mod to speed up the gameplay to fix the game's sluggish speed issues. I haven't tried it out yet though, but I can imagine it makes the game a lot more fun. So there's even a bunch of map mods that can only be found on R2 Modman, including tracks ported straight from Mario and Sonic games. R2 Modman also includes an essential mod called Crew Boom, which is necessary to run the character skin mods found on Game Banana. This mod allows us to add downloadable character mods into the game without overriding the core game's data or characters. There are a lot of steps needed to make sure that we get things set up correctly, but it can easily be solved by searching up on Google how to add character mods into Bomb Rush Cyberfunk. There is a catch though. You have to progress through the first 2 chapters in the game before we can access the Crew Boom mods. These mods require accessing what are called cipher spots, which are these checker pattern dance floors, where when we stand over them and press down on the D-pad, we can open a menu that allows us to perform one of a few dances in order to summon the other playable characters. However, the cipher spots are blocked off at the beginning of the game until we reach a certain point in the story where our main character isn't allowed to move forward and is finally introduced to the cipher spots. It's here where we're finally given the privilege to change our characters, which will allow this mod to work. Once I unlocked the character select function, I basically had no desire in continuing with the main game or its boring story. I will down the line though. The whole game isn't bad, I'm just saying starting off it's kind of slow, but admittedly Chapter 3 was a lot better. There was like this mall level, and that was a lot more exciting than the boring city levels we got before. But either way, I was more focused on wanting to goof around in the other worlds as characters from other games and cartoons. So I was first introduced to this game when I randomly found this video floating across YouTube of Crystal skateboarding across Prizola Palace. So at first I was thinking it was a mod from Tony Hawk Pro Skater, but as I looked more into the game I realized, oh, it's actually a clone of Jet Set Radio. After being curious by this mod, I went on the Game Banana to see what other kind of mods they had for this game, and as soon as I saw like so many fun mods, I just had to download the game for myself. I bought it off Steam, and I just had to make a whole video showcasing all these crazy mods that you can do in this game. So first off, we have Crystal from Star Fox Adventures skating around in Bikini Bottom from Spongebob. Random pairing, I know. So I don't know like what assets this level was ripped from, like if they took it from a game in particular, because it kind of blends in with a lot of visual styles from various SpongeBob games. Like out of the top of my head, I was thinking Battle for Bikini Bottom, and I was wondering, is it the movie video game, or I don't know. It's hard to say, but either way, it actually makes for a really great track, though, with a lot of grindable rails, and that's an issue that a lot of these mods, unfortunately, don't have in mind. They don't bother adding in a lot of rails to grind on, and when you don't have a lot of rails to grind on, it can make a lot of these levels feel very empty, especially considering how slow this game is on its own. I mean, even with unlimited speed boosters, this game still feels incredibly slow, and they'll be more noticeable with some of the levels I go with down the line.
Here I go. That's for me.
So here's where you change your characters. These are the cipher spots I mentioned, where you press down the D-pad to summon a little dance wheel, and then they'll summon your other players when you perform a dance, and so you then see the characters like breaking out into a break dance whenever you select them. So here we got Samus. Since I didn't get to show what Crystal looks like when she's dancing, so here.
Here I go. Here I go.
Why can't I just have a day off?
Yeah, Squidward. Okay, this was so funny. I even made a whole video about this where I just noticed like his reaction. Like it looks like he's been invited by SpongeBob to meet like all these different video game girls, and he just looks disgusted with the way he's looking around with an angry face. And I couldn't help but break out into laughter when I saw that, and I had to post like a video about it on YouTube. So here we have Squidward on his bike going through the Rico Harbor Squid racetrack from Super Mario Sunshine. There's surprisingly a lot of fun obstacles in this, including thwomps and piranha plants. You don't see that much detail usually modeled into mods, but something so surreal about seeing Squidward just blasting around like this. One thing I love about these mods is how a lot of the times they bothered actually giving them voice clips from their actual characters, whether they're from the video games or the TV show they're from. I think that adds a lot of personality to these mods. Now we got Robotnik, Mr. Krabs, Ripperoo. I'll just go with Mr. Krabs, but I was so disappointed because I was thinking this would be hilarious playing as Mr. Krabs, but unfortunately his body type just does not work for the, what do you call it, the character mesh, for the character animations and all that. It just isn't a good fit. So it mostly looks like Mr. Krabs is just magically waddling around, and I mean, it might be funny for a little bit, but after a while it gets kind of annoying with how unnatural it looks. So here we're at Bob-omb Battlefield from Super Mario 64. It's a little small, but it translated pretty well. There's a lot of grindable objects, and considering how this game can be very slow, it's nice to have a smaller level to make the characters feel like they're kind of speeding around it a lot faster, because yeah, it's a shame how there's so many good ideas for levels, but they're so big and the game is so slow that it makes traversing through a lot of these levels a nightmare. This is so cursed. Mr. Krabs riding on a bike with his claws backwards. It's like, what the heck? This does not look right at all. Yeah, I'm ready to switch characters. So now we're Mario, and he's in one of Bowser's racetracks. I think it was from Mario Kart Wii. And unfortunately, there's a Mario pack where you can play as a lot of Mario characters, and a lot of them were not really well rigged into the game. But again, I don't really think it's the modders' fault. I think it's just the body types of these characters. They just don't have the right proportions to match the rig of these characters in the game. So yeah, sometimes it can be funny to see a model that just moves unnaturally, but for me, it's just kind of not really funny when you're seeing like the characters' limbs popping off or sinking into each other. It's not that funny, really. So here we got City Trial from Kirby Air Ride. I mean, hands up, how many people only play Kirby Air Ride for this mode in particular? This was the best feature of the game. Kind of makes you wish that there were more worlds to explore, but even then, even with this being the only level to explore in City Trail mode, it was still a lot of fun. It was just so unpredictable. It has so many hours of replayability. Yeah, anytime I go back to play Kirby Air Ride, I always rush straight back to this mode. It's just so memorable. And it makes for a great level for kind of like a skateboarding simulator. Unfortunately, though, the speed is really slow. I mean, Kirby Air Ride, you were able to get around these places a lot faster, depending on what vehicle you had and what stats you had, but still. You're not able to fly through the air, unfortunately, but still. It still kind of makes for a fun level. I mean, it translates better in this game compared to... I think like this was ported over to Gary's mod, and yeah, it doesn't really work really well as a Gary's mod level in comparison.
Let's go! Okie dokie! Yahoo! Wah! Let's go! Yahoo! Okie dokie! I'm the superstar! Wah! Yahoo! Okie dokie! Yahoo!
Okay, time for another character and stage swap. So, let's see, we got Star Fox from Star Fox Assault. For some reason he has his melee voice clips, though. There's also a mod of Crystal wearing her Assault outfit as well, for those who would rather play as that compared to her Adventures outfit. So here we're at Coconut Mall from Mario Kart Wii, and I don't think this is an actual port. It feels more like... If it is, then they stripped a lot of its textures out and really simplified it. But unfortunately, this level was a huge letdown because you look around, you think like almost everything should be grindable, and no, they didn't bother programming a lot of grind rail.
Mission complete.
We got Fox on his little bicycle. Up next we have Ooh La La from Space Channel 5, another character from a Dreamcast game, just like Jet Set Radio. So yeah, I apologize, because yeah, there's going to be a lot of upskirt shots with the way her model is on the game's camera, so yeah, I apologize. Unless you're into that sort of thing, then you're welcome. So here we have Cool Cool Mountain from Super Mario 64, and boy, this was such a letdown. I was thinking like, oh boy, we get to slide down the ice slide and all that, and then it's like, oh god, this is so slow. This is boring. What the hell? Let this sink in. A modern day game from 2023 is moving slower than a game from the N64 from 1996. This is set, I mean, even with speed boosters, everything is moving so slow. There's like no speed physics in this game, and seriously, why did this game get near perfect scores? I can't wait to go back to this game after trying out the speed mods. I really hope it makes this game a lot more fun, but playing it as the base game, it's like, yeah, the mods are what make this game good. The base game on its own, it's not that great. I know it's an indie game, so people like to give credit to games that are made by independent developers, but I'm sorry, it's not a perfect 5 out of 5 game like a lot of people are claiming it is. Ooh La La somehow looks natural playing this, though. I mean, probably it's just because she was a playable character in Sonic Riders, so it kind of gives me those vibes. I mean, because she ran around on rollerblades in that game, and so the fact you can roll around on rollerblades in this, it kind of makes it feel like you're playing a more open version of Sonic Riders. But speaking of which, I am looking so forward to Sonic Crossroads. I love how it's going to be a mixture of the Sonic racing games, like Transformed. It brings back the transformation, and then it also brought back the Riders gameplay, mixing it in. Closest we're getting to like a modern day Diddy Kong Racing, and I know they had like the big open beta recently. It just came out today as of the recording for this video, but I'm not watching it though because I don't want to be spoiled. I want to be purely surprised when I end up getting the game. So far I've been hearing mixed things about it though. Like there are some people who are impressed with it, and then there are others who are whining. Like some people are whining that there's too many power-ups in the game. It's like, hello, have you ever played any of these games before? Yeah, they have power-ups. Deal with it. Now we're going to play as Ripperoo from the Crash Bandicoot series, and I just knew this was going to be a hilarious idea. I mean, skateboarding around as a crazy kangaroo in a straitjacket. And they did a really good job at porting him over. I mean, his eyes are actually animated. I feel like if this were any other skin mod, they just would have had a static image of his eyes and not the actual hypnosis eyes. The actual spinning animation. And I mean, they even made his face look all wobbly, just like in the game, and they even added his sound effects, like when he's bouncing, and they even have like his voice clips, and this is really cool. I was really disappointed when it came to moving over to his bike gameplay, though. I was hoping, like, oh, I hope they would have animated it to where he's pedaling with his feet, but of course that's impossible because they're only using pre-existing animation sets for this game, so as far as I know, there aren't any mods that actually modify the animations of the characters themselves. I mean, maybe there are, but they would be like really complex ones that require like overwriting a lot of files, and I'm only wanting to use mods that you can use within R2 Modman. So yeah, this was really disappointing. Look, mod, literally no hands. So we're on Daisy Cruiser from Mario Kart Double Dash. Sadly, there isn't a whole lot to do in this level. I mean, yeah, you can grind on the rails and all that, but not much, really. Okay, so now we're going to play as Waluigi. Up next, we're going to a level called Diddy Kong Racing Hub. And this is a level I really wanted to like because I love Diddy Kong Racing. I thought it was so cool that they ported it over, but it feels very unfinished, and it doesn't say if it's a work in progress, but you actually can go inside some of the racetracks. So here we're going to go into the first world, Dino Domain, and only 2 of the racetracks are available here, including Fossil Canyon and Ancient Lake. And I was let down right away. It's like, oh my god, I get to ride through all these Diddy Kong Racing levels, and it's like, oh my god, this is taking forever. And so don't worry, I'm not going to show the full race. I'm going to speed ahead to the different landmarks, but that was so disappointing, and trust me, this was not fun. There were speed boosts or rails to grind on to help give you a speed boost. I mean, God, I would have been done off the first lap if I was playing this on the N64. Heck, I probably would have been on the second lap by now. Such a disappointment. I'm surprised that still to this day we never got some kind of Mario skateboarding game. I mean, the closest we got to it was the skateboarding event in the Mario and Sonic Tokyo Olympic game, but yeah, a mini game doesn't really count. But it plays very similarly to the Tony Hawk games, but doesn't have the wipeout system. It just focuses on trying to, you know, rally up combo scores by trying to rail a lot and pulling off a lot of half-pipe tricks, but I think this game would have been a lot better if it actually had a trick system more similar to the Tony Hawk Pro Skater games or even the SSX series, where you can like flick the joystick in different directions while pressing buttons simultaneously, or hold them longer to pull off like a longer trick, and then they could also have like a wipeout system or something. And here we got Barney from The Simpsons busting a move. The Simpsons mods were so disappointing in this. I thought it would be hilarious to play as the Simpsons characters, and it was awful. The animations aren't very good, but what ruins it to me is the voice clips. They use like these really badly compressed voice clips. I think they were from some of the previous Simpsons games, like Hit and Run or Road Rage or something, but they sound just so crusty in this game. And no, I don't mean the clown. I mean like in quality-wise, it is so crusty. It is kind of funny, though. Like, I'll admit that these are still better animated compared to the Mario models or the Mr. Krabs model. So, it's not terrible. But I think it's just the fact that The Simpsons just never translate very well in the 3D models. It's like, I don't think there's a single video game where their models look natural. I mean, even in the Simpsons game, their last official video game, they tried simplifying it by making it cel-shaded, hoping that maybe they'd look more suitable there. But I think one of the biggest problems with that game, though, was that it was just too low poly. I mean, yeah, come to think that we never really got like a proper modern-day Simpsons game. I mean, it was made back in the infancy of HD, so back when the Xbox 360 and PS3 were still kind of new. But it's something kind of funny about Homer riding a bike. At least he looks more natural on that bike compared to Mr. Krabs. Sometimes the shading in this game really bugs me. I mean, I like the cel shading art style, but there's so many areas in the game where the shading looks way too dark. I kind of wish they used softer shading. Not necessarily softer edged, but maybe softer colored at least. I just wish it wasn't so intense. I don't like it in games when the shading like really blocks off the characters' faces or something, because I'm a guy who sometimes likes to take screenshots from video games. I like to use them as you know, references when drawing different pictures, and it kind of ruins it though when the shadows ruin the whole picture. And so here we got Pianta from Mario Sunshine, and at first I was wondering why he had a watermelon strapped to his back, and then I realized, oh, that's supposed to be his thruster, because like in the main game, how the main character has like this thruster on his back that allows him to use his speed thrust. And so for some reason this Pianta just has a watermelon strapped to his back. I just can't help but laugh at the physics of this character, the way his nose is constantly flopping around and God, these guys are always so weird. I'm a chuckster. The biggest downside to playing as this character is that you're gonna have no choice but to keep staring at his enormous ass. Here we have Snowflake Valley from Diddy Kong Racing as well, and only one of these levels are available in this world, which is Everfrost Peak, and it's very unplayable because there comes a point where in the regular mode you're supposed to either fly over or drive over like this little rock ramp in order to go into a cave, and there's no way of getting over it, so yeah, this level's incomplete. Okay, we got SBO, Millhouse, Jet the Hawk. So I'm gonna go with SBO, and I think it is so cool that SBO is gonna be in Crossroads. Not only that, but it's also gonna be the first time we get to see him playable with the Riders gameplay, since he was playable in none of the Riders games. I mean, only one of the Chaotix members was ever playable in a Sonic Riders game, and unfortunately, it was free Riders, and only Vector was playable, and yeah, that was the game that required a Kinect, the one that required you to break your spine, bending your body to move your character. And oh, I got like really bad muscle spasms from playing that game back then. I got like a really bad back injury from that game. It really strained one of my muscles. Unfortunately, there really isn't much else to do in this level. There weren't really any grind rails set up to help you get around, and you can't really go around the ocean area, otherwise you'll plummet to your death. In the original Diddy Kong Racing, there was a lighthouse that was actually a rocket, which led to a teleportation pad that took you up into space and all of that, and there's no way of accessing that. I still like how the lighthouse is modeled into the game, though. And not only is the entrance to Dragon Forest not accessible, but it wasn't even rendered into the game. It's just a dirt wall, unfortunately. Okay, so on to a different level. So here we're at DK Mountain from Mario Kart Double Dash, and we're going to play as Tails from Sonic Riders, and unfortunately for a lot of the Sonic characters in this game, they use the Sonic Adventure voice clips, and as much as I love the Sonic Adventure games, like they're some of the most nostalgic Sonic games for me, I hated the voice cast in those games so much. Like, people joke on how bad the voice cast from Sonic X or even the modern Sonic voices are, but I'll take those over whatever the heck was going on in the adventure games. Those voices were terrible. I don't think it really matched really any of the characters really well at all. They just felt like they were soullessly reading off a script. So this surprisingly translated well into a level, basically. There's a lot of stuff to grind on. Yeah, I like how they couldn't actually properly animate the characters blasting out of the cannon, so instead they had it act as a warp area where it warps just straight to it with a seamless transition. That was really cool. So, not a whole lot of grind rails or anything, but at least there's a lot of ramps to leap off of and perform tricks. So, it's definitely better than a lot of the other levels that were ported over into this game.
Alright! Lucky me! I did it! Yeah, that was easy. I did it! Lucky me! Alright! I did it!
This Dr. Robotnik mod is honestly one of the best mods in this game. You'd think this wouldn't work. I mean, usually these big bulky characters with cartoony proportions don't translate well with these realistic human animations in this game, and while it's not perfect, it's believable though. I actually do feel like I'm playing as Robotnik.
My floating masterpiece, the egg carrier.
That was unintentional, but that voice clip of Eggman presenting the egg carrier happens when you load in this level. It actually feels like Robotnik is actually saying it. But this looks seamless, though. It actually does look like I'm actually playing a cartoon. I mean, a lot of the other characters in this game, obviously they weren't made for cel-shaded in mind. They were from other games, and they just added an outline over them. And there's something about this Robotnik model where it translates really well with the cel-shaded graphics. I really do feel like I'm playing a cartoon for a second. And the voice clips they use for this are so funny, though. They use actual voice clips from the show. They even use the infamous Pingus quote. But just hearing him laugh like a madman, it cracked me up so hard. Just seeing this big fat guy just flying around like crazy.
Hooray! Venus! Hooray!
I was so disappointed when it came to his bike animation, though, because the rest of his models overall pretty good, but when it comes to his biking animation, that's where it does not work. Suddenly his arms are sinking into his body, and just doesn't work right. I mean, his legs seem to work mostly fine, but it's his arms that ruin it for this animation.
Feel pretty! My floating masterpiece, the egg carrier!
And we're at another Sonic-themed level, this time being Egg Fleet from Sonic Heroes, and yeah, this Yoshi model was pretty disappointing. Just like the other Mario models, the body parts like sink into the character's body. It just doesn't look natural. So this is kind of a cool idea for a level. Unfortunately, it's pretty lengthy though. Like I said, the game is very slow, and for a game where this level was incredibly long in the game that it came from, when you mix that with slow speed, I mean, these levels were made to speed through in the original Sonic Heroes, and yeah, you're welcome that I fast forwarded, otherwise you would have been seeing me slowly grind down that rail forever. I think this is a really cool idea for a level, but man, I'd really love to see a remake of Sonic Heroes someday, because looking back at that level, it aged horribly, because there's like barely a skybox. It's like they tried disguising it by making it white because, oh, we're up in the clouds, but I feel like nowadays they can make it look more realistic to where we're actually flying through the clouds. So yeah, I got bored with that terrible Yoshi model, so I switched over to a better model. So here we got Link from The Legend of Zelda. I'm not sure if this is a model taken straight from one of the games. It kind of feels like a modified version of his model from Melee. I mean, the voice clips are clearly from Ocarina of Time and Smash Brothers, but so, yeah, surprisingly, Link works pretty well as a skateboarder, but then again, skateboarding gameplay isn't entirely new to the Zelda series. I mean, it was when it was introduced in Breath of the Wild, but rollerblading, that's new for Link, though, along with riding a bike. Man, even with such a silly outfit, Link makes almost anything look cool. I mean, I still find that hilarious, you know, how Miyamoto, when he created Link, he intentionally wanted him to look dorky like Peter Pan or something, wearing an outfit that no sane person would wear. And somehow, even with that though, after Ocarina of Time, the people never saw Link as a silly character again. They all of a sudden see him as this badass. Even after the sillier games like Wind Waker or Triforce Heroes, where they flat out had Link cross-dressed as a cheerleader. I mean, it's so weird, but we're now at Emerald Coast. This is, no joke, the best mod level in the game. There is so much to see and do in this, and there's a lot of fun Easter eggs. There's even a TV, like, towards the beginning of the level, and if you stand around, you'll notice that they're actually playing the Sonic OVA, and if I'm not mistaken, it plays the entire cartoon. Like, I stood around for quite a bit, and they showed, like, past the part where Sonic and Tails are surfing at the beginning, and it kind of reminds me of how the video game High on Life, they, like, had 4 movies put into the game, so if you're so bored, you can just sit around and watch the movies that are on the TV. I went on so long about this level, let's go on about the character I'm playing as, Conker, using the J.C. Thornton model. And, so yeah, Conker is a really fun character to play as. Here we got Conker riding around on a little bike, and this was the second mod of the game I ever saw. I mentioned how Crystal was the first mod I ever saw for this game, and then after looking up what other mods there are, Conker was the second one to catch my eye, and as soon as I saw, okay, you can play basically a skateboarding game as Crystal and Conker, along with characters from Mario and Sonic, I knew I had to buy this game and try it out. But Emerald Coast, this is the level I kept playing through the most. There is just so much to do. There's even a lot of hidden items, like Chaos Emeralds. I'm not sure if they actually do anything, but it gives you a reason to want to go back and just goof around, try to see if you can find them all, maybe. Unfortunately, like, I feel stupid rewatching my gameplay of this, because I noticed that I missed a lot of obvious shortcuts. There were a lot of, like, billboards that were plastered to the side of some of these levels, and I should have realized, like, oh, I could have just jumped at those and did some parkour across it, but speaking of which, I really wish that this game had regular parkour or wall riding. I mean, even Tony Hawk had wall riding, although it didn't last very long. But here, you can only do wall riding if there's a billboard present, and that can be really confusing if you're playing modded levels, because some levels by default have like a billboard as part of the geometry of the level, and sometimes the modders don't bother modding it to where they act as a parkour surface. And the same can be said about the rails. I mean, you think if it has an edge, you can grind on it, but nope, not for everything. It depends on whether the modders modded it into the game. But yeah, Emerald Coast, this is a really fun level, and Conker is a really fun character to play as in this level. Now we've got Hilda from Pokemon Black and White. I think this was her model from the mobile game Pokemon Masters. And, God, that'd be so cool if you could have a Pokemon game where riding the bike in the game was like this. I mean, yeah, you could say Violet and Scarlet let us ride around on a Pokemon that's actually a motorcycle, but did it let you do tricks like this? Now, I'm not talking about the stupid pony tricks you could do in Pokemon Ruby or Sapphire. I'm talking about, like, actually being able to grind on rails and do like flips and stuff like that. That'd be so cool. Obviously, it's expecting too much to expect a trainer to have a big thruster coming out of their back, but yeah, it would be cool to have a Pokemon game where you can actually do tricks like this, grinding on rails and stuff like that. I think it would be so cool if we ever got a Pokemon game where we got like better customization for our trainers, to where if we wanted to, we could customize them to look exactly like they did in past games. Because I've heard so many people say like, oh, they preferred the trainers from Diamond and Pearl, or they preferred the trainers from Black and White, and yeah, it is kind of a shame when people are so attached to those characters, whether it's Red from the original game or May from Ruby and Sapphire, and then it's like you can't play as them ever again in a later Pokemon game. Yeah, Nintendo or Game Freak, whoever's in charge of the Pokemon games, it's like, yeah, keep that into consideration. Let players choose like which avatar they want, instead of, oh, I hated the ones in Scarlet and Violet. They were some of the most bland and ugliest looking character models ever. There was just nothing special about them. So here we got Kairi from Kingdom Hearts 2. This was my favorite design of Kairi in the series. I honestly thought her design in Kingdom Hearts 3 was a huge downgrade. For some reason, she went from looking like a teenager to suddenly looking like a 10-year-old again. It was so weird. I didn't like her new voice actress either. I liked Hayden Panettiere as the voice of Kairi a lot better. But I'm really hoping that Kingdom Hearts 4, or whatever spin-off they decide to do next, I really hope that it does develop Kairi a lot better, because I was very underwhelmed with her development, or lack of development, in Kingdom Hearts 3, and it looks like they're trying to make up for it, judging by how Melody of Memory went, along with the DLC for Kingdom Hearts 3. So, the fact that she's going to be training under Master Aqua, it's like, oh, we better see a more badass Kairi the next time we see her. So, there's other Kingdom Hearts models in here, and I do show off some of them in this, including Sora and Axel. I think Riku is also available, using his Kingdom Hearts 2 design. So, unfortunately, yeah, they're using the Kingdom Hearts 2 model of Kairi, but unfortunately they're using her Kingdom Hearts 3 voice clips. But to be fair, that's the easiest to work with, because Kingdom Hearts 3 was the only game where she was playable. So, usually when people use mods, or make mods in games, they want to use voice clips from actual games, and you don't have a lot of work with the voice acting from the first two Kingdom Hearts games. I mean, they don't really lend themselves to, like, combat-heavy or action-heavy gameplay, so I kind of understand why they had to settle with the Kingdom Hearts 3 voice clips. Here we got Amy as she appeared in Sonic Riders. Unfortunately, it uses her voice clips from Sonic Adventure. Oh, that was the most annoying voice for Amy, in my opinion. I think this would have worked so much better if it used her Sonic X voice actress or even her modern voice actress, but her voice was so high-pitched and annoying back then. It just sounded so whiny. But I do like how nearly every Sonic mod in this game, it either uses original models or it uses the Sonic Riders models, and admittedly, the Sonic Riders aesthetic fits the best with this kind of gameplay. I mean, you could have just easily used like their models from Sonic Unleashed or some of the GameCube Sonic games, but they either use the Dreamcast games, custom models, or the Riders models, and yeah, they admittedly do suit the gameplay really well. Oh god, Amy riding a bike looks so wrong in this. It looks more like someone's puppeteering her hands against her will. Like, why are her hands so high up? It's so unnatural. Tails didn't look this bad when he was riding a bike. And so, why does Amy look so bad riding a bike? Okay, and now we're on to another Sonic level. Let's see, this one is the Final Chase, I think is what it was called, from Sonic Adventure 2. And we're playing as Zero Suit Samus. Imagine doing this in a Metroid game, seeing Samus just like take off her power suit and going like, okay, it's on, and then she just starts grinding across space. That would be something to behold. But, okay, I know a lot of people are going to hate me for saying this. I was never a fan of these levels. I always thought they went on way too long. The main reason I hate these levels, though, is because I tried speedrunning the original Sonic Adventure 2, trying to S-rank every level, and levels like these were a nightmare. Okay, so here we got Tiny Kong in Delfino Isle from Mario Sunshine. So I think this was her model from, if it wasn't from Donkey Kong Barrel Blast, then it was from the Mario Super Sluggers for Wii. And admittedly, Tiny Kong really fits the aesthetic of this game. I mean, the game is about controlling a bunch of basically punk-looking teens as they skate around and do graffiti, and just look at Tiny Kong's outfit. That basically spells out, like, a troublemaking teenager who wants to skate around and spread graffiti. Now we got Knuckles from Sonic Riders, and why does he look so tiny? He's like smaller than everyone here. I mean, Tiny Kong is taller than him, and yeah, I know she got a tall redesign in the later games that used her, but still, there's no reason why Knuckles should be so tiny amongst those other characters. Well, they did a real good job of his hair physics, though, like the way it flails around. That's really cool. I mean, I'm so used to mods being so lazy, like, they don't bother adding, like, actual physics to the hair or the clothing, and so it always looks so stiff and lifeless. And So yeah, I always love it when I see modders put a lot of attention to detail with the animations and all that. So here we're at Kokiri Forest from Ocarina of Time, and I thought this is a really cool detail. They turned the shop into an outhouse. The outhouse is where you normally go to change your character's outfits. Unfortunately, there's only 4 outfits to choose from, and not every character mod has different outfits. Usually they're not really outfits, they're more like skin colors. They'll just change the color of their skin, their fur, or the color of their outfit, but it doesn't actually give them different outfits per se. So, there isn't a whole lot to do here, unfortunately. I mean, there are some objects to grind on, but there's not really much to explore. Like, you can't go inside the Deku Tree, you can't go out to Hyrule Field. Okay, so let's move on to Dreamcast Sonic. For some reason, they only have his Japanese voice clips. Considering how every other mod uses the English voice cast from the Dreamcast era, I'm surprised this is the exception. And so here we got Krazoa Palace from Star Fox Adventures, which is a reoccurring area in this game. It's one of the first levels that we get to play as in the game when we have to play as Crystal. And so, yeah, this is also my introduction to this game, because the first clip I saw was Crystal skateboarding through this world. I thought it looked so cool. It felt like a Tony Hawk mod, but with Crystal going through Krazoa Palace. I mean, there's something so funny about seeing Crystal skateboarding through a level like Krazoa Palace, like a Tony Hawk level, like getting points for grinding across the surface. That was so fun, and I can tell you, I am not very good at this game. Like, I am terrible at finding, like, surfaces to grind on and keeping, like, a never-ending combo. I still have fun skating around, though, but I suck when it comes to actually trying to do a good job at this game. I fumble a lot, I slip up, I accidentally fall off places, and you can't say practice makes perfect, because, you know, I grew up with the Tony Hawk games. I played them ever since the N64 era, but I never really got very good at them. I still had fun with them, though, but can't say I ever beaten them or 100% at them. The problem is that I'm just a little too slow to respond. There's a lot of games that are just too fast-paced for me. People say practice makes perfect. It's like, I've been playing video games for over 20 years. I'm not going to get any better. Deal with it. How has no one made this into a Gary's Mod map yet? This would make for a fun online multiplayer deathmatch arena or something. I mean, it's easy to get lost in. I mean, there's a lot of rooms for people to hunt each other down. Yeah, this would make for a fun online multiplayer shooting level. So now we're playing as Shantae, and we're playing through Luigi's Mansion. Unfortunately, it's not the level from the game itself. This is Luigi's Mansion, the racetrack from Mario Kart Wii. I mean, it was still a really fun level from Mario Kart Wii, but it's like, I would have rather actually skateboarded across the entire mansion instead of mostly a racetrack built outside of the mansion. There's not really much to do inside of the mansion itself. There's a few rails to grind on, a few hallways, that's it. But this is really cool because, you know, I love the Shantae series, and yeah, we never got a 3D Shantae game, although there are rumors that there could be one someday, but yeah, so this feels like the closest I've ever seen to actually playing as Shantae in a 3D game, and it helps that you actually got her voice clips from her voice actress, Christina V. Shantae is just such a fun, lovable character, and, but unfortunately, this level is kind of dark, though, so you can barely see her, so I made sure to play as her in the next level I went to, which turned out to be a lot brighter. I mean, the only other game I played where they had, like, a 3D mod for Shantae was Gary's Mod, and, I mean, yeah, I don't see Shantae being in a racing game, but being in a racing game feels more suitable than a game where she's running around wielding a gun or something, you know, so gotta admit, though, that would be a fun magic power for Shantae to have it where she can just, like, thrust through the air like that. So, here we're at Metal City from Sonic Riders, and it's a very unfinished level. I mean, you can make it through, but there's a lot of really buggy areas, like you saw me clip right through that grind rail, didn't you? So, and again, it's a very slow level because the gameplay in this game is too slow. I probably would have been halfway through the level by now if I was playing this in Sonic Riders, with how fast that game runs, so... Still a visually pleasing level, though, like, and this is coming from a guy who gets really sick of the futuristic city levels in video games or movies, and I remember as a kid I thought it was really cool, but nowadays I feel like it's really generic. When you get a better understanding of how computer animation works, you realize that a lot of these are just using a bunch of basic, lazy, untextured or simple textured shapes and colors, and after a while it just feels like you've seen one, you've seen them all, and it's kind of boring to me, and so I always did kind of like the aesthetic of this level, though. I mean, Sonic levels in past games, especially during the Adventure era, they really knew how to take what would have otherwise been really boring things, and they really knew how to add a lot of life and color to them. But that was just a part of the Sega Dreamcast in general. Sega Dreamcast was known for having very colorful and underrated games. I mean, look, that's the whole reason that this game was made. It was a love letter to Jet Set Radio, and I even heard that, a guy who did some of the composition for Jet Set Radio actually did a few of the music tracks in this game. Unfortunately, the ending to this level is very broken, so I had to end this level abruptly. Now we're playing as Diddy Kong, and my god, he is so tiny in this game. Like, this is probably the smallest character I've played as so far, but I like how they have his jetpacks as his thrusters. And so we're playing through the ancient city from Sonic Adventure. Otherwise, Mystic Ruins from the past. And, yeah, this actually works really well. There are a lot of grindable surfaces. They even have the Master Emerald altar, and that's like one of the best places to skate around. I just rode right past them. I didn't even notice while I was recording gameplay, but looking back on the footage, I noticed how you could actually see Tikal and her dad standing around in front of the temple. That's a cool little Easter egg. Onto another Sonic level. Here we have Radical City from Sonic R. How many people got this mixed up with Radical Highway from Sonic Adventure 2? I mean, you gotta admit, they're both very similar in the name. I mean, yeah, both of them are nighttime city themed levels, but yeah, otherwise, yeah, they have very similar names. And so here we're playing as Sora as he appeared in Kingdom Hearts 2. Just like I said with Kairi, I always thought Sora's design was the best in Kingdom Hearts 2. Hell, everyone looked better in Kingdom Hearts 2. So, yeah, Sora fits this naturally, because there actually was skateboarding gameplay in Kingdom Hearts 2. And this is actually another really fun level. I'd say this is my second favorite level out of all the modded levels, right next to Emerald Coast. Up next is also another Kingdom Hearts 2 character, Axel, and we will be playing on Radical Highway. I was just talking about this level. Ugh, why does this game have to be so slow? Up next is another character who appeared in Kingdom Hearts, Yuffie from Final Fantasy VII, the self-proclaimed great ninja. So here we're at Sand Ruins, I think that was the name of it. It was one of the later levels from Sonic Riders. I like how they actually modeled a bit of extras into this level. There's actually a little skate park over to the side. Easy to miss if you just want to focus on racing through the regular level. So yeah, unfortunately not very well textured though, but still a cool addition. Because the main level itself doesn't really work really well as a skateboarding level. Just like many levels that are poured into this game, it kind of ruins its purpose when you can't reach the speed necessary to get through the level. There are some really cool workarounds though, like during the last bit of the race where you have to fire yourself across a giant crossbow. They actually managed to find a way to make it work in this game by having it where you are stuck to a grind rail that actually moves from one end of the level to another. That was actually a kind of clever workaround. I mean, it doesn't look as visually pleasing as actually riding on top of an arrow like in the actual game, but still pretty cool. Unfortunately, there's a lot of height requirements that you cannot make in this game. Like there, I barely made that jump right there. In Sonic Riders, you didn't have to worry about thrusting through the air to make the jump. You just had to worry about timing it right and, you know, pressing the jump button at the right time with the right amount of speed. And so, yeah, it kind of ruins the charm here when everything is moving so sluggishly. And now we're going to play as Wave the Swallow from Sonic Riders, and we're going to go to Twilight Town from Kingdom Hearts 2. Now, that level was perfectly ported over because, you know, you can actually ride a skateboard around in that level, so it translates very well into a game that is all about skateboarding. Unfortunately, there are a lot of areas that are cut off, though, but I just love this Easter egg here. They just put in Morshu from the Zelda CDI games as the shopkeeper. That got a laugh out of me. So there are some areas that aren't accessible though, like you can't actually go to the train station to ride against its tower. You can try going through the forest to get to the mansion where Naminé was, but it's gated off in the end, so you can't really go there. But you can actually make it to the top of the tower. That's really cool. You can even leap off of it. I mean, I don't even think Kingdom Hearts 2 let you go up there. That was just basically a scene that was used for cutscenes in both Kingdom Hearts 2 and the flashbacks during 358 over 2 days. I love how squinty-eyed Wave looks in this. Like, she just looks like she's genuinely pissed off. I mean, the way she's looking at her phone, it's like, I'm just so done with everything. Okay, here we go. Best girl from Kingdom Hearts, Aqua. Hell, I'll even say best character from Kingdom Hearts.
Welcome to Twinkle Park.
And we're at Twinkle Park from Sonic Adventure. Oh god, I love this level. It's honestly one of my favorite levels in the game. I think theming-wise, it's the best level in the game, but gameplay-wise, I'd say Emerald Coast is actually the best level. But Twinkle Park, this is just such a memorable level. Love the music, I love the visuals, and you just don't get levels like this in Sonic games anymore. I mean, Sonic Colors was a game about a giant amusement park in space, and none of those levels were as creative or visually fun or magical as Twinkle Park. This is a surprisingly well-modded level, though. It actually feels pretty functional, although it is actually one of the trickiest levels in the game when it comes to the mods. When it comes to maps that are actually functional, that is. Like, I feel like this is challenging in an intentional way, because originally there was a part where you were supposed to hop across the rooftops of the castle. So for a while I was wondering, what the heck am I supposed to do? I've been grinding around on top of these roofs forever, and then I noticed there were some billboards on the sides, like, oh, I gotta do some parkour on those. And even when you know what to do, it's still kind of tricky, though. It's easy to accidentally fall off when you're trying to hop across the billboards. I mean, the first one, that one was very easy to notice, but then when it comes to the rest of them, I somehow just kept skating right past them, and eventually I started noticing them, and it's like, oh, okay. And that was the last of the levels I had to show for now. Sadly, the level navigation for this is kind of a mess because you can only go up and down a small list. It would have been easier if it was a bunch of selectable tiles that allowed you to go through them a lot faster. And so now we're playing as Honey the Cat from Sonic the Hedgehog. And Blaze the Cat, using a custom model that feels like a more advanced version of her Rush model. It looks pretty nice overall. Uses voice lines from her Sonic Rush voice actress. And so, overall, yeah, this is a pretty decent game when it comes to the modding community, though. But yeah, I really wish the game was a lot faster. Does anyone else love playing Bomb Rush Cyberfunk? Do you love playing with mods as well? What's your favorite mod in the game? What's your favorite character? What's your favorite map? Feel free to let me know in the comments. So far, I've mostly had fun playing as Crystal and Conker, and my favorite level, of course, was Emerald Coast from Sonic Adventure. Anyways, thank you for watching, see you next time, and have a great day.
No contest. You're absolutely beautiful. This will be nicer. Here goes.